All right, let's talk about one of the first major hurdles on the path to a career in emergency medicine, the MRCEM Primary exam. If you're looking ahead to 2026, you're in the right place. We're going to break down exactly what you need to know and hopefully turn all that anxiety into a clear, actionable plan.
You know, does that quote on the screen ring a bell? I bet it does. For so many aspiring EM docs, this exam just feels like this huge, intimidating monster. But you know what? It really doesn't have to be. Our goal today is to cut right through that fog and give you a crystal clear picture of what this is all about. And here's our game plan. We'll start with the absolute basics, what the exam even is. Then we'll get into the practical stuff, the logistics you have to nail. After that, we're diving deep into the exam blueprint. And trust me, this part is crucial. Then we'll break down what each subject actually tests you on, before wrapping it all up with a solid strategy for success. So, first things first. What exactly is the MRCEM Primary, and who's it for? Okay, the main thing to get your head around is that this is the very first step on your journey to becoming a member of the Royal College of Emergency Medicine, or RCEM. And notice the focus here. It's not about complicated clinical management. It is purely a test of your foundational, basic medical sciences knowledge.
At its heart, this is the one question the exam is really asking. Think about it. Emergency medicine demands incredibly fast decisions, and those decisions have to be built on a rock-solid understanding of anatomy, physiology, and pharmacology. This exam is basically the gatekeeper, making sure you have that foundation to practice safely.
So who can actually sit for it? Well, the eligibility is pretty straightforward. You need a recognized medical degree and current medical registration. But the real takeaway, the thing you need to see, is that last point. No minimum clinical experience is required. And that's a total game changer. Because it means you can, and a lot of people do, get this exam out of the way very early in your career.
All right, let's get into the nitty-gritty, the practical details you need to get organized.
So for 2026, you're looking at a 3-hour computer-based test. It's got 180 single best answer questions. Now listen up, because this is a really important update. The delivery partner is now Surpass Assessment. It's not Pearson VUE anymore. This is a critical detail, so make absolutely sure you're looking at the right test centers when you go to book.
Planning is everything, right? And these deadlines are tight. Just look at the key dates for the spring 2026 diet. The application window is incredibly short. We're talking just 1 week in December. Seriously, get these dates into your calendar right now, because you do not want to miss that tiny window. Now let's talk money. The fees are going to depend on where you are, and more importantly, whether you're an RCEM member. Just look at the difference. You save a pretty significant amount of cash if you're a member, often over £100. So the pro tip here is simple. It almost always makes financial sense to become an RCEM member before you apply for the exam.
Okay, I need you to lean in for this next section. Understanding the exam blueprint is, without a doubt, the single biggest strategic advantage you can possibly have. Honestly, this is where most unprepared candidates get it completely wrong.
Just look at that. This is the secret sauce for the MRCEM Primary. This is not an evenly weighted exam. It's not even close. Yeah, pharmacology, microbiology, pathology, they're all in there. But just look at those two absolute giants dominating the blueprint, anatomy and physiology.
Let that sink in for a second. Two-thirds of your entire score comes from just 2 subjects. If your study plan doesn't reflect that weighting, you are just not preparing efficiently. This one fact should completely shape your entire revision strategy, right from day 1. So, knowing the weighting, that's step 1. Step 2 is figuring out what they actually test within those huge high-value subjects. So let's break that down, shall we?
When it comes to anatomy, forget about just memorizing lists of names from a textbook. That's not what this is about. This is applied anatomy, the stuff that's relevant to the emergency department. The questions are clinical. They're going to ask about the functional problem you'd see after a specific nerve injury, or the relationship between organs in the abdomen during a trauma. It's anatomy in action.
Okay, physiology. A lot of people find this part pretty daunting, but here's the secret. It is the most logical and honestly the most high-scoring area you can find, if you prepare for it well. If you can really master cardiorespiratory physiology, renal acid-base balance, and how to read graphs, you can turn these really tough-looking questions into predictable, easy marks. For the other subjects, you gotta be targeted and efficient. For pharmacology, focus on mechanisms and side effects of the key EM drugs. Microbiology, it's all about pattern recognition. Think gram-positive versus gram-negative.
You don't need to memorize a million obscure bugs. Pathology is about the big concepts, like inflammation and sepsis. And evidence-based medicine, it's a small section, but these are easy marks if you just know the definitions of things like sensitivity, specificity, and bias.
Okay, we've covered the what, the why, and the how. Now for the final and most important part. How do we put it all together to turn all that knowledge into a passing score? Let's be real for a second. The pass rate usually sits somewhere around 50 to 60%. That means, yeah, a lot of people don't pass on the first go. But this is not because half the candidates aren't smart enough to be doctors. It's almost always because they didn't have the right strategy. This number isn't about your ability, it's about your preparation. So, what does a winning strategy actually look like? Well, it's pretty simple and systematic. First, you have to respect the blueprint. We've seen how critical that is. Second, you pour the majority of your time into anatomy and physiology. Third, you use question banks as your primary learning tool, not just to test yourself. That means you review every single answer, whether you got it right or wrong, to deeply understand the logic. And finally, you have to practice under time conditions to build up that mental stamina for a 3-hour exam.
And why does all this matter so much? Well, because passing this exam does way more than just let you move on to the next one. It shows your commitment to the specialty. It builds your credibility. It is the official gateway to your entire career in emergency medicine.
So let's be absolutely clear. Yes, the MRCEM Primary is a demanding exam, but it's not a mysterious one. Once you understand its structure, what it actually values, and how to prepare strategically, it stops being this big, scary unknown and becomes what it really is, a manageable, systematic challenge. So I'll just leave you with this thought. The exam is a challenge, not a mystery. We've broken it all down and shown you the path. The only question left to ask is, are you ready to take your first big step into the world of emergency medicine?